San Marino is known for having one of the worst national teams in the world, but it's also home to the worst domestic league in Europe. So I want to change that by getting a team from San Marino to win a European competition. Today is day one of me trying to complete the San Marino challenge. I don't know how many days this is going to take, but I suspect it's more than one. So first of all, I downloaded a San Marino database and then had a cry thinking about how long this was going to take. Now for the team. I'm choosing La Fiorita purely because it's the nicest team name to say. Say it with me now, La Fiorita. It is so satisfying to say. Our best player is Giuseppe Sampano, a right midfielder who most impressively at the age of 29 has played for 11 different clubs across his career. We're going to utilise him at right midfield in a 4-4-2 where I want him to put crosses into our target forward Olchese at the far post to knock down for our poacher Ambrosini. It's making me laugh already just how easy this challenge is going to be, because already in Season 1 we have Europa Conference League football. We may have to get through 4 qualifying rounds, but I reckon we should easily beat this team from Lithuania. Well, I guess you can't have everything, can you? So I made some signings. Mario Perrone will be our left-footed rock at the back, whilst Lucas Di Buono comes in to be our best right back as we add strength to the back line. As we all know, defence wins championships. The Campionato Sammarinese di Calcio features 16 teams, with the top 3 getting a European spot. And we are favourites for the title. I promise I chose the team based off the name, they just happen to also be the best team in San Marino. I was desperate to see how our tactic worked on the opening day of the season. And technically, Zampano crossed it to the far post for our first goal. For our second goal, it was actually Zampano scoring it. And then for our third goal, the cross came in from the left-hand side to our poacher who scored a header. But finally for our fourth goal, the cross came in from the right-hand side, but it wasn't knocked down for the poacher, and it was the wrong players putting the move together. So although we won 4-0, I feel like we won in a completely different way to how I was planning to win games. We did get closer to scoring goals how I wanted to, as Zampano assisted Olchese in our next game. It's just the Shane Perrone at the back couldn't do his job as we lost 3-2. But we soon got back to winning ways as poacher Ambrosini kept scoring goals, mostly assisted by Zampano, to put ourselves on top of the table by goal difference ahead of Morata. Not to be outdone though, Olchese scored the first hat-trick of the video in a 3-2 victory over Kailungo, and then actually went on to outscore everyone else in the team, as by the time we hit 20 games played, he'd scored 13 goals to now give us a 4-point lead over Morata and put us in pole position to qualify for the Champions League. However, we ended up losing to Cosmos, who scored their first goal 17 seconds into the game, and their second 25 seconds before full time. And then Morata beat us 3-2 away from home, which put question marks on whether or not we'd beat them to the title. But thankfully, we pipped them to the top spot by a single point to seal a Champions League spot. Morata go into the Conference League finishing in second place, along with San Giovanni, who get a spot by winning the cup. Olchese topped our scoring charts, with Ambrosini behind him. But there is a slight issue that they're 41 and 37 years old. If we have serious ambitions of wanting to win a European competition anytime soon, we have to replace them. And of course, now we have demonstrated our ability to win the league title, we have to fully focus on European football. So we have 4 really simple challenges. 1. Reach the league phase of any European competition. 2. Reach the knockout stages. 3. Win the whole thing. And 4. Subscribe to the channel. Okay, I am aware that these challenges sound very simple, but of course, it is far from that. We need to keep winning the league to boost our reputation, keep investing in our facilities to improve players and develop wonder kids, and of course get good affiliate clubs to sign players in on loan, which is exactly what the board have agreed to do, until they decided that they couldn't find any suitable club. If you're unaware, San Marino is this tiny little country surrounded by Italy. And right now, pretty much every team in Italy is better than us, so quite frankly, any club would do. How hard can it be to create a link with someone?
I just couldn't deal with the rejection, you know?
Yeah, I can see why they would reject you, to be fair.
Hang on, you're meant to be my therapist. You're meant to be helping me.
Well, I've got better things to do. I'm currently scouting the best players in San Marino.
Yeah, but what about me and my needs?
Well, you could always try the paid partner of this video, BetterHelp.
Oh, no. That sounds really complicated.
It's actually not. You just answer a quick questionnaire about yourself, and then you're partnered up with a therapist suited to your needs, usually within 48 hours. And if you don't like them, like this centre-back I've just found from San Marino, he's only got 6 pace, you can just switch to someone else, which is exactly what I did when I first tried out BetterHelp.
So, do you have to go somewhere to meet your therapist?
No, actually, you can schedule sessions via the phone, video, or just messaging, which is really useful if you're just starting out or not feeling too confident.
It sounds a lot better than what you're offering. Why aren't you offering your services on BetterHelp?
Well, that's because I'm just a figment of your imagination. On a personal level, I've gained a lot by talking to my therapist about the anxieties of being a YouTuber. Everyone on YouTube has a shelf life, and at some point in the future, mine will come to an end. And given that this is my job, that's quite scary for me actually. So being able to work on ways to challenge irrational fears has been actually really quite useful for me. So if you want a therapist who can support you, visit betterhelp.com/TomFM or click the link in the description to get a discount on your first month. So heading into Season 2, our focus was on the Punic Champions League game. But given that match is in early pre-season, it doesn't give us much time to sign players. And with last season's top scorer Olcese now deciding to retire, we need players fast. And incredibly, we made 9 signings before the game, and they all come from very good stock. We got left-back Simoneyenko from Roma, which sounds very impressive. Frank Bolli looks like he'd be a really solid centre-back for us, and he started life out at St Etienne. Simon Di Maggio is another new centre-back who looks pretty decent, and he's an AC Milan Academy graduate. And our new star striker, Luigi Caccavo, will replace Olcese as the target forward. And he's played for Monza and Torino. The fact we have all of this former Serie A talent feels like we're cheating. Surely it's going to be easy this season for us. We're running the same tactic as last season, hoping our youngsters will adapt well. But we are going to have to rely on 37-year-old Ambrosini, 34-year-old Vitaioli, and 30-year-old Zampano to guide them through it. So we welcome the Armenians to San Marino, chuckling to ourselves thinking how much we're going to beat them by. But 30 minutes in, the scores were still level, and that needed to change. So we worked the ball down our left-hand side, but for whatever reason, our left midfielder was out of position in the penalty area. But it's a good job he was, because he only went and scored the opening goal of the game, giving us a 1-0 lead at the break. However, the Punic manager must have had a good team talk, as the Armenians came out fighting and managed to hit the crossbar less than 60 seconds into the half. But undeterred by their warning shot, we continued to attack, recycling a corner out to the near side. Vitaioli put a low cross into the middle, and new boy Caccavo doubled our lead. And then 10 minutes from time, we added a third to the tally, as veteran Vitaioli scored his second of the game, before Caccavo grabbed his second from a 91st minute corner. So in the end, we recorded a huge win to give us the advantage going into the second leg. After going 3-0 up in the first half, we took our gas off the pedal in the second half, but we eventually win 7-2 on aggregate. This means we're up against Kostani from Kazakhstan in the second qualifying round. And we have backup. We've signed 20-year-old Bulgarian striker Ioan on a free transfer after he left Genoa, where he made 3 Serie A appearances last season. But will he be able to score past Kazakhstan's finest? Well, it turns out we didn't need him to, as our right back Delgado was given the ball and he scored a beautiful effort past the keeper in the 30th minute. And he almost did it again just before half-time, putting his shot narrowly wide of the post. The Kazakhs played much better in the second half though. just putting their efforts over the crossbar, which allowed us to punish them down the left-hand side of our attack as substitute Pierre scored our second of the night. And as we continued to have success down our left-hand side, following a melee in the penalty area, we managed to squeeze in a third goal to win the first leg 3-0. We actually lost the second leg, but thanks to great work at our place, we progressed 4-2 on aggregate. But surely now we're going to get knocked out by a much better side in Maccabi Haifa. But if we do manage to win, financially, it is huge for us. All teams get £85,000 for being in the first, second and third qualifying rounds. But if we lose in the final qualifying round, we're guaranteed 4.2 million and a whole lot more money if we actually win it. This match is massive. So imagine how giddy we got when we took the lead 10 minutes into the game thanks to Johan the Bulgarian. However, Maccabi Haifa managed to score not one, but two of their own goals just before half-time to take the lead heading into the break, and then extend it a further 2 minutes into the second half. But we didn't give up, and we pulled back a goal in the 70th minute to end up narrowly losing the game 3-2. Imagine if we pull off an absolute miracle in the second leg and turn this all around. Annoyingly though, we conceded first from a corner, but fought back to equalise not long after thanks to a defensive error and an incredible strike from Johan. But when right back Delgado was sent off for 2 yellow cards, any chance of a fight back was off. We drew 1-1 and narrowly lose 4-3 on aggregate. We have no big payday and we're out of Europe for the season. Or are we? You see, if you lose in a qualifying round, you go to the next qualifying round in the competition below. So incredibly, we're taking on Maribor in the final qualifying round of the Europa League. Win this game and we go to the Europa League proper, but if we lose it, we go to the league phase of the Conference League. It is obscene, but in just Season 2, we will be in a European League phase and complete the first challenge. I thought this would take at least 5 seasons. I can't believe we're here already. However, at our place in the first leg, we were humbled by the Slovenians as they beat us comfortably 3-0 to take a very nice advantage back to their place for the second leg, where we did put up more of a fight, but we were never going to make a big comeback. But you know what? I could not care less, because we've just been given £2.5 million for making it to the Conference League phase, where we get to play our old friends Punic from the Champions League first qualifying round all over again after they managed to make it all the way through the Conference League qualifying rounds. But I think that might be the only game we stand a chance of winning. However, the Armenians used this as a chance to get revenge on us as they beat us 1-0. I also wanted a good performance against Italian side Bologna, but obviously the Serie A team got the better of us and beat us 3-0 at our own place. And even Cypriot side Apollon Limassol got the better of us, beating us 2-1 away from home in a game where I thought we maybe could have got something from it. So in the end, we lost every single league phase game, but to be honest, I don't mind. We are ahead of schedule, and to already be in a league phase at this stage of the video is mental. So now we just need to focus on the league and getting ourselves into a top 3 position for European football next season, which I thought would be pretty tough given all of our extra European games. But in fact, we'd gone unbeaten in the first half of the season to sit on top of the table by 3 points at the halfway mark of the season. In the second half of the season, both our strikers Johan and Kakavo were competing for the top scorer award, but due to a lengthy groin injury, Kakavo was out of the running, which means Johan continued to steamroll ahead and score 24 goals in all competitions to help us go back-to-back in San Marino with an invincible season to make the Champions League again. We've also got £3.5 million in the bank, and we can spend 2.2 of that on transfers. But we need to be sensible, which is why I got the board to invest in new training facilities, new youth facilities, and then they decided that we needed to have a new stadium as well. So it turns out Season 2 was an absolute dream for us. I'm pretty happy with our young strikers scoring goals, but we're going to have to find replacements for the aging Vitaioli and Zampano on the wings. So on the left, we signed 19-year-old midfielder Mattia Cabari on a free transfer from Cremonese, and for the right-hand side, we brought in 21-year-old Lorenzo Vigiani from a Serie D side, also on a free transfer. We've also been able to sign a much better goalkeeper in Alessandro who helps out our defence. But this summer, it was harder to sign players. We offer contracts to all of these youngsters, but only Mario Velarde signed for us, as I'm going to slowly look to transition formations going forwards to use wingers higher up the pitch. But it does leave our squad a little light on the ground with only 20 players for our first qualifying round game against FKRFS from Latvia. And less than 2 minutes into the game, the Latvians took the lead. They continued to look the stronger of the two sides, especially when we gave away a penalty that looked outside of the area to me, which of course they managed to score. But even more frustratingly, 5 minutes later, we gave away another penalty, which once again RFS scored to make it 3-0. And moments later, it could have easily been 4-0 if not for a great save from our new keeper. They came close again early in the second half, putting their effort just wide of the mark. But now it was our turn to have some chances, only being denied a route back into the game by the woodwork. Whatever we did, we just couldn't find a good opportunity for the rest of the match and ended up losing 3-0. Then in the second leg, RFS scored first to make it 4-0 on aggregate, making any comeback impossible. We did get a consolation goal to make it 4-1, but it was just too little, too late. And unlike last season where we dropped from the Champions League to the Europa League, because we've lost in the first qualifying round, we drop all the way into the second qualifying round of the Conference League. So now if we lose any European game, we are out of Europe this season. So we have to make sure we beat Tetovo from North Macedonia. But 90 seconds into the game, the Macedonians scored. But thankfully, it was disallowed. But when they put the ball in the back of the net again 16 minutes later, this time it counted. We did have more chances in this game than against RFS, but we still couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. So we trailed 1-0 at the break. But 3 minutes into the second half, we worked the ball down the far side of the pitch, put a perfect cross into the far post, and Johan managed to loop his header over the keeper to get us back on level terms. And then in the 78th minute, Vitaioli lined up a free kick, aimed for the top corner, and hit the crossbar. But we head back to our place with a 1-1 draw, and surely with the home crowd behind us, we can get a win. And sure enough, in the second leg, just before the half-time break, Johan headed us into the lead from a corner, while Zampano doubled our lead on the night to win 3-0 on aggregate and progress to the next round, where we've been drawn against Lincoln Red Imps. Any OGs from the Lincoln Loco 3 days will know just how difficult this game is going to be for me. 2 minutes in and we almost opened up the scoring, but the keeper did well to deny Johan. But from the resulting corner, Corbari found the head of Kakavo, who headed us in front. Then on the 11-minute mark, Delgado's corner from the other side found the head of Johan, who doubled our lead. It's clear that putting lofted balls into the middle was the way to go. And every time we did, we were causing Lincoln some issues, but we just couldn't find the back of the net. However, just before half time, another lofted ball into the area found Johan at the back post, and this time he scored our third headed goal of the game. And to add insult to injury, 65 minutes in, Kakavo scored another goal from a corner to extend our lead further. But the best goal was yet to come, as two of our substitutes combined, with Zampano crossing to Semprini, whose incredible volley from the D beat the keeper to win the first leg 5-0, surely guaranteeing our spot in the final qualifying round. A 4-1 win in Gibraltar in the second leg was equally as impressive, So we progress, and if we can beat Astana from Kazakhstan, we'll make the Conference League proper this season. But I think the Kazakh side are stronger than us. And they proved that when they scored early on. And we weren't helped by centre mid Franzolini getting himself sent off 20 minutes in the game for 2 yellow cards. But we did defend well to keep the score at just 1-0 for the rest of the half. But the second goal did eventually come, following a great move by Astana to break our defensive line and slot a shot past the keeper. Somehow they didn't score from a late free kick or the following shot after the keeper's save, which means we only lose 2-0 and we still have a chance to turn it around at our place. And we thought the comeback was on when Zampano gave us the lead 30 minutes into the match. But in the second half, Astana put a dagger to our heart as they scored not once, but twice to win 4-1 on aggregate. So we have no European football this season, and despite having a stronger squad, we've gone backwards. Well, maybe that's just a little bit harsh. I think we got very lucky in Season 2 to get to where we were and qualify ahead of schedule. This is probably where I thought we maybe should be at this point, just on the cusp of qualifying, but not quite good enough to do so yet. But it now gives us a full season in the league to work on a new 4-3-3 tactic, where we encourage play down the left-hand side with DeLuca and Korbari, and specifically encourage them to float crosses to the far post, either for our target forward or inside forward, to get on the end of it and score goals. Now, whilst it wasn't always down the left-hand side of the pitch, floated crosses to whoever was playing as our target man was working, as Kakavo had notched up 20 goals in all competitions by Christmas. And our inside forward Velarde wasn't far behind him as our second top scorer. Sadly though, we aren't going invincible this season as we did lose a game, but we do sit on top of the table by goal difference at the halfway point. In the second half of the season, Luigi Kakavo kept scoring goals to end the season with an incredible 35 in all competitions. But when he somehow didn't score, it was Mario Velarde who was still popping up with the goals for our very own Mario and Luigi duo. In the end, we won the title by 11 points to make it 3 in a row and once again reach the Champions League. Now currently, we are still rooted to the bottom of UEFA's coefficient rankings, but we're slowly making gains. And if we can have a good run next season, I think we'll move off the foot of the table. This season, once again, we had a great attack with plenty of goals and assists. So I think our aim heading forward has to be improving our defence and especially our midfield, which has been our weak point. And of course, we want to impress people in our new stadium that will be ready for the start of Season 5. But we have one massive problem that we need to fix as soon as possible. Vitaioli is the club's only homegrown player, and he's now retiring at the end of the season. In European football, you need to have homegrown players as part of a squad. But because we only have one of them, we could only register 18 players this past season for European games, rather than a full squad of 25. Now this season it wasn't too much of an issue because we had a very small squad anyway. But as we get better, we are going to need more homegrown players to make sure we can actually fill that squad up to be able to compete. But no one in the squad right now is due to get homegrown status anytime soon. So we need to fix this, and fast. But it's going to have to be a job for another day, as right now, I'm at the end of day 1. Day 2 will be out in a few days' time. Obviously it takes me a day to actually play the game and record it, another day or so to then edit it and get it ready for you guys. But this series has the potential to be very long if we can't fix any of our problems. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to get alerted as soon as day 2 is released for you guys to watch.